Try and maintain and stay sane.
All right.
I feel that.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I'm a cup of.
Yo, welcome to another episode of the Epic Podcast. We are in the house, full house today. Back with David, Ike, Jared. Justin is he's stretching his
Fumbling.
PTO.
FMLA at this point, bro.
Somewhere
Man.
forward.
Shit,
He don't want to be on this episode.
But he
FMLA, bro.
taking care of the fam, making that money, man. We can't hate on him, man. He's still part of the crew. We're gonna rep him every episode, whether he here or not. But Ike is definitely taking shots with his name today. Saying, what does Justin and Zay Flowers got in common, man? What they got in common, Ike?
Hey, man, they both fumble at the wrong time.
Damn.
He fumbled his picks, and Zay Flowers fumbled in real life at the goal line. One difference maker.
This playoffs have been rookies making rookie mistakes at the wrong time, man. There's been a couple of rookies that just ain't been doing what they're supposed to be doing at the wrong. It's a lot to go into. We'll talk about that in a minute. How was y'all sports weekend, man? Jared, let's start with you, man.
Again, bro, dormant. I ain't got no dogs in any fight right now, so I'm just chilling. Like, I mean, it really ain't nothing really eventful going on. Lakers getting smacked every night. They getting smacked again tonight.
Hey, man, bro. Dude, that game last night, man.
They're terrible, dog. They're not doing anything good right now.
What about you, David? You talking about that game last night?
Man, I was so upset. Like it's one thing, man. I love LeBron, man. I love his game. I just wish that it just a little bit, if he was, you know how like back like when Kobe. Remember Roger Bell and Kobe back in the day? Remember that little tussle they had? And then, Roger Bell and Kobe gets up and kind of go, okay. You know what I mean? And get that. Sometimes I want, like, LeBron sometimes can be, he like Superman. Superman, he's kind of a guy who's very quiet, you know what I mean? But sometimes you want that Denzel Washington equalizer type. You know what I mean?
Just wanting to,
I know that's not LeBron's game, but sometimes get mad, man. Even if you get kicked out or something, get kicked out the game. That's what like a lot of these coaches do. It's just emotion, just to get the team, get the players riled up.
See,
man.
I think that was him in Miami. I think like when everybody hated him and he went there, they were like, "Oh, he the villain." Like that was.
Yeah. It didn't fit him that well, though.
It did. He had 2 MVPs seasons down there, but
you out here got Dylan.
You can tell he didn't like being a villain.
Yeah. No, he didn't like it, but he's like, all right.
I feel like his greatest assets also can be his weaknesses sometimes too, because like he's never really been a talker like that. Like, I mean, he'll talk to the refs, smoked another layup. I just wonder how many career points he would have if he didn't miss so many layups.
All right, we're gonna talk about LeBron a little later on. But last but not least, Ike, man, you the only team out here still fighting.
Congratulations,
Niners,
brother.
Man. Yeah, man, good comeback, man. How you feel about that, man?
I told y'all, bro. There was a couple of things that was telling for me. Right? So obviously, I got all the messages and this is not the first time this has happened, by the way. I almost think it was 17 the last time too. 17 points down, first half. Everybody is specifically messaging me.
That's corny. I hate that kind of shit.
They're not even Detroit fans. One of them was, and I accept that from him. He was a Detroit fan when they were 0-16. All right, cool. I get it from you. But everybody else is just mad because, and for the record, Jared, some of them are Dallas fans, by the way, just to hate
Stupid.
for no reason. Uh, and by the end of the third quarter, I was like, yeah, this game's over. And two things that to me stuck out was if you have to resort to trick plays,
Mm.
you ain't that confident. Like, the reverse made sense because we weren't
That's
really
a
able
normal play.
to.
That's not really they
Yeah.
It's
run
not
that
for
all the
them.
time.
They don't run it all the time.
I'm just saying, just in general, like
No,
I just feel like teams do it.
that also made sense because of where we were struggling, though. Like, because that gets you to the outside, right? We were struggling with run to the outside. The was it the quarterback option or whatever, or the flea flicker, and I
Oh
can't even
yeah,
remember the
no,
name of the other player.
I know you're talking about
No, y'all were looking for something. Like you needed something
a
for
spark.
confidence,
Hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, it looks a little desperate to me. So by the end of the third, I was like, yeah, this is a wrap. Ain't no way that they go come back after we went up.
All right, cool
Yeah.
then, man. Well, let's jump into these topics real quick, man. We're gonna start with NBA power rankings right now. We know the NFL season's almost over, so we got to start transitioning slowly but surely into NBA and March Madness. Um, we done had some movement. So you got the Clippers. We'll start with number 10. You got Cavaliers. They was 11th last week. The Suns at 9. They was at 9 last week. The Knicks jumped up 12 spots to number 8.
Yeah, they be
Um,
hooping.
yeah, they've been playing good
Oh,
here lately. Timberwolves, they dropped down from 1 to 7, so they dropped
Mm.
6 spots. The Bucks is they're 6. They jumped up 7 spots. Thunder stayed at 5. The 76ers fell down 3 spots. The Nuggets jumped up 4 spots to be number 3. You got the Celtics, they was 1 there at 2, and now you got the Clippers who was at 3 that's now at 1. Um Based on how teams been playing, I think this is pretty accurate. Knicks been playing well. Timberwolves haven't looked like they self as far as how they was in the beginning of the season. Cavaliers is making a huge surge right now, even though they may be talking about trading Spider. Um, I think the Bucks, they jumped up 7 spots, but they probably shouldn't have been out of the top 10 anyway. Nuggets jumped up 4. But again, they're gonna be there in the West. And like you said, probably the most solid team out the East is the Celtics. And a lot of people talking about the Clippers looking good enough to win it this year, man. What's your opinions on these rankings and possibly how they may move forward after the All Star break? Anybody dive in?
It
Anybody?
is. I'll start. I mean, as always, I'm not really a huge stickler of the power rankings because I mean they mean absolutely nothing. Like they don't mean anything. So I don't really spend too much time critiquing and going back and forth about little things. But I mean I think it's cool. I don't see anything that just stands off as crazy. Like I don't know what the Timberwolves have been on the past week or whatever to make them drop down to 7. 'Cause I thought they were still at the top of the West, but I ain't really been keeping tabs on it too closely. But I'm
they
not
just
I'm not
retook the
mad at
lead.
it.
I thought.
I guess they're not anymore. Like, cause to
Well, I
drop
know
down
they
to
lost. They had a bad loss, and I can't remember who it was this week.
Cat
Uh,
Cat scored 62.
oh
I'm gonna
yeah,
find.
they lost that game. It's showing that they're still the top of the Western
yeah,
Conference, bro. So I don't know what's
they
going
said
on.
they hit. They've had 4 games against 4 of the 8 worst teams in the league last week, and they went 2-2, barely beating Brooklyn in one of those 2 wins.
They're
So
still
that's what it
33 and
was.
14
Yeah,
overall,
32. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is the
33. Yeah.
second best record in the league. So how that makes them seventh, I don't know. But like I
But
said
I think
earlier,
it's a weekly thing. So I think, like they said, they went 2-2 last week out of 4 games, and they played like some of the worst teams and barely won. Like
Is that a
they
real
barely beat
power
Brooklyn.
ranking though? Like, can
I'm
you
just
do an
telling you what.
NBA power ranking week to week? Because some teams are gonna play more games than others. Like, I don't know.
I think it's cumulative. There's no way possible it could be a week to week. Like it's
I'm just
definitely
telling you
based
what.
on
Like their rankings changed based on like last week they were number 1. They dropped 6 spots. So then it's
that's
just saying
crazy.
why. And they just said last week they went 2-2, barely escaping Brooklyn in one of those 2 wins. So they could have went 1-3 last week and been like against bad
But the other
teams.
one was OKC, which is a top team in the league. So like,
They
That's
beat them
probably
was it
what
last night.
kept them where they was.
I'm with you,
Yeah,
And
boy.
it is.
they've been
Give
getting
them a
outscored
repeat.
in the fourth quarter. They said 118 to 83. Yeah, I don't know.
Damn, the
They
Cavs
just
are
ain't been
12
playing that
games
good
over
though.
500. That's crazy.
But
Damn.
what you think, David? You agree with these power rankings? What do you think about the Clippers, man?
The Clippers.
Yeah, the
Clippers
Clips.
is
Um,
crazy.
the Clippers are a very, very good season team. They played very, very well in the season. Um, and it's and it's quite like this with a lot of teams, man. It's the season right now. I think a lot of teams that are not playing well. Some of the teams I would say are bored. I mean, I don't know what the Lakers are doing. They do this every year, but it we don't know until April, man. That's when
They
the season.
13-2 since Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they play very well in the season, bro. They
Okay.
play
I,
very,
I
very well.
I think the thing with the Clippers is they have a team assembled that nobody they can all have off nights and still beat the average team.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
if you look at, because I look at
True.
box scores, the first thing I do when I sit down at work, hopefully my boss isn't going to be watching this, but the first thing I do when I sit down is I look
Yeah.
at all the games from the night before and I look at like all the stats, like just to see what happened. Like that's like my warm up, get my brain ready. I look at all the stats and see what everybody did the night before. And they're beating guys by 15, 20 points where nobody scores over 22 points.
Mm.
Harden has 14 and 10. Uh, 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 Paul George will have like 20. Kawhi will have like 21. And then it also changes. So like Harden might have 24 and nobody has to drop 30. Nobody has to drop 30. If they
Mhm.
all just like get in the 15 to 22 range, they have a chance of beating everybody. And I feel like that's going to propel them in the playoffs. Nobody has
That's
to
what I
be
was about to say too.
nobody has to be that guy. They can all have semi-average nights. Oh, and then you got Russ. Russ is contributing his 15 to whatever and 7 assists off the bench. Like nobody, no one guy has to be that guy on that team, and they can still beat people. So it's just like you get to the playoffs and you have one of them guys start scoring 30, 35. You get a
Yep.
40-point game out of one of those guys, they're going to do some damage to a team.
And that keeps them fresh too. With all them being in
Exactly.
their mid to late 30s, like
Exactly.
that's keeping them fresh too. So that's really gonna be key for the playoffs. So now I'm
So
with it, man. I'm
we'll
with it, man.
see. If they stay healthy, that's the big part. I think
Yeah.
that's been the Clippers' problem. Really, has been health. If they stay healthy, that's going to be the key. But I mean, I think they can do it. They just got too much firepower. Like it's just too much. They got too much. If they can stay healthy, keep it going, they can beat anybody. Will they beat anybody? That's still have to be determined, but they can.
Ike, what you think?
That boss is being knocked for being in the Eastern Conference. Because
Well,
I mean,
that's second.
okay. I don't know that I've seen the Clippers do enough to be number one versus Boston being number two. Boston still
Okay.
has the best record in the league, like, and I think it's by like 3 or 4 games at
Yeah,
this
it
point.
is. They
So
only have 11 losses.
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't really understand the logic behind any of this. Power rankings mean what they mean, I
Well,
guess, to
I
whoever.
think it's only because the Clippers just beat them this weekend. And it was like their second worst home loss of the season. So I think that may be because it went 1-2. They just
Yeah, yeah.
switched.
And they
I can
still
see
got
that.
4 games on them,
I
and the
know.
records
I'm just saying.
lost.
That's what the screen said.
Yeah.
Look, I gotta yell at somebody, and I
I
can't.
know. I'm just trying to give you some,
You gotta
just
get
some
it.
back, a little backlog on why, what they say. But anyway,
uh,
man, let's.
yeah,
Yeah, I know, I know.
that's how I feel
I
about
can see it in your face. All right, man. Is it time for the Lakers to move on from LeBron, man? This is something we was kind of talking about in our chat,
That's a
man.
wild segue, bro. That's wild.
Hey,
That's a
it. Hey man,
wild ass
he
question.
went from LA to LA, man.
That shit's crazy.
um, Ike,
I'll
what do
start
you
though.
think? Oh no,
Go ahead.
because we're all. I think we're more fans of LeBron than Ike is. I know Ike likes LeBron. He don't hate LeBron, but I think we'll have more to say. Do you think the Lakers should move on from LeBron? Ike, in particular.
That's a really tough thing to say yes to, right? Like, how do you move on from a player of that magnitude? Now, it don't seem to be working. I almost feel like they're keeping him partially because he's still putting butts in seats. So, I mean, you're still making money off of him at this point. I don't know that it's for the whole hope of having him and Bronny on the same team, which to me would just be a money grab as well at this point. If you move on, if you were to move on from LeBron, what are you going to get from him? And what does move on mean? Like, are you trading him? Okay. Are you like, all right, we done when your contract is up? Like, what does that mean exactly? I think if you are going to say, hey, we should consider moving on from LeBron, you got to get something back for him. So, like, you've traded how many first round picks? And the last couple of years, you've got to get some kind of return on that investment if you're going to make that decision. Um, and no matter what they've done over the last 2.5, 3 years, it ain't worked. And it don't seem to be getting better. They're in the same position now that they were in last year, except for the defense somehow seems worse. I don't know how that was possible. Uh, I seen you say something about shooting practice, and I was like, yeah, like anybody, they don't defend
They don't
anything.
defend anything, like for real.
They don't defend. Like I've never seen a group of people play the Matador defense so well. And
Man,
it's almost like, hey, here, go ahead, Ole. So is it time? You're getting really close, I think, because if you don't get something from them, what you got? Like what's after LeBron? Like
a whole
we've
bunch
got to
of
at least
money,
start.
I guess.
You, you at least got to start thinking about the post LeBron era
Oh
and
yeah,
how
they
that's
should
going
have
to
been
look.
doing that.
Absolutely, but it doesn't. I don't know that they seem like the free agent destination that they used to be. So I don't even know if you can say, hey, we got money that somebody who is going to, because LA is a championship town. You could get can you get a star? Yes. Are you going to get a star that's going to drive your team to a ship? That may not necessarily be the case. But you've got to start planning something. Whether it's
For sure.
like trade him to get something back, but something needs to be done to be prepared for when he's not there. But I can't say just move on from him. That sounds like a lot. It's a big thing to say.
All right, David, what you think?
Um, I think they got the talent, man. It's just effort. It's just effort. Um,
You can't coach
with
everything
this
though.
with the trade with the trade um deadline going on and all the rumors of D'Angelo Russell getting rid of D'Angelo Russell, and then you see he comes out and I mean, what, 7 games he scored over 30 points or close to, I think he had one game that was like once 29, I believe, 37, 33 here. I just think it's effort. It, I mean, we've seen what happened in the bubble. We've seen what they did to Indiana and stopping Tyrese Halliburton. You know what I mean? Having a scheme is just there's just no leadership, you know, in the circle. There's nobody getting mad. Hey, you got to do this. Like when you look at Patrick
Nobody's being held
Mahomes.
accountable at all.
Yeah, when you look at Patrick Mahomes, hey, we got to do this. There's no pointing the fingers. Hey, hey, you need to do this or do that. It's just they're out there playing LA fitness ball, man, and it's you know, like I said, they are where they were this time last year, and they made the Western Conference Finals. Now they got swept, but I didn't think they were gonna make it that far.
That was a huge surprise. A
That was a
huge
huge surprise.
surprise.
But it's like it's one of them things there where LeBron is kind of just doing his thing, probably and they must know, okay, this is where we need to be to get to the playoffs. I don't know. They know it better than we do. But um I think it's effort, man. I
Okay.
think this team was better than the championship team, the bubble team to me.
Definitely more talent for sure.
How the more talented you got more shooters, you got wing players, you
You
got
got
height,
length. Yep.
length. I mean it's there. It's just effort, man. They can beat anybody too, I feel. But it's effort. It comes down to everybody's got to be accountable for what they do. You got to have a role, but then you gotta you know um Darvin Ham's got to have his best 8 guys on the in rotation. Pick your best 8 guys. Now you might have some guys that might sprinkle in there. When it comes to matchups here and there, but you got pick your best 7, 8 guys, man, and stick with that. But when
Okay.
you have people coming in and out of rotation, like Hachimura, he's probably one of my favorite players on the Lakers, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's strong, he's athletic, you know what I mean? He got a nice jump. I feel like he's like a smaller Kawhi Leonard in a way. He get in the paint, he can score,
Yeah.
he can
He do got
rebound.
that same little flat jumper. I can see
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah,
his
he got
jumper
that
was
little
nowhere near
yeah.
the same, but like their shots just do look damn near identical. I can
You know
see
what I'm
that.
saying? So I just feel like, and I don't, Gabe Vincent's been out, but I've seen Hachi, Vanderbilt score. I've seen it, man. We've seen them. Ooh, I've seen it. Wow. Okay, Lakers. Okay, I see you. You know, but but when but like I said, that's why sometimes I say about LeBron. Like the play yesterday when Dylan Brooks hit him and he fell on the ground. I understand that you're trying to get the same calls, like everybody, to try to you get him out the game. Man, F that, man. You know what I mean? Get up and hit. You know what I'm saying? Hoop. You know what I mean?
Get
I'm
up.
gonna dunk on you this time.
Get up and hit him
I'm telling
back.
you, you have you give you him let him have that type of firepower. If LeBron comes down there and I don't know, man. I ain't saying he got to be Draymond, but that's why Draymond does what he does now. It's not effective anymore. But it just gets your team riled up, man. It gets get you like Jared Vanderbilt. I like what he did. He pushed him back. He got ejected. But you know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know, man. We just everybody got to be accountable. Just need some firepower, man. But they have the team. They
All
have
right.
the team.
What about you, Jared? Man, I know you.
All
You kind of proposed the question, so I'm gonna let you go.
right. So to answer the question, should they move on from LeBron? That's phrased kind of wild. Fortunately and unfortunately, depending on which direction you're looking at it. LeBron controls this. LeBron is going to be there as long as he wants to be there. At this point, and after what LeBron's done for the Lakers, the league, his career, like I said, fortunately and unfortunately for some situations, he's got control. So they're not going to trade him unless he says, I want to be traded. And like, if he wants to keep resigning, they're going to keep offering him contracts. I mean, I feel like he's earned that. So that's moving on from him is not anything that's going to be realistic. But like I said earlier, the Lakers need to move on from the Lakers. Whatever they're doing, this whatever they're doing or not doing as far as coaching, front office, they need to get out of their own way because they have no draft capital. They have this coach who's just a walking dummy on the sideline. You keep making these same transactions, and then at the end at All Star break, you're 500, and then you're looking for trades. Like, at what point do you say maybe it's not the personnel that we have, maybe it's something deeper? I think the Lakers franchise is just in shambles right now. I don't know who's running the show. I don't know who's. I guess Rob Pelinka. He's doing a terrible job at enforcing and making them play well because, like Dave said, it's all effort. I mean, you could watch the game, you can see things like for one. I watched one play last night. Um, it was Turian Prince and it was Austin Reeves. They were guarding two guys, but they were switching. The guys from who they played, the Houston Rockets, the guys like switched. They switched, and then the Lakers were clearly switching. So Austin Reeves makes the switch, and then Turian Prince just stands there. Like he like glitches. It was like watching a video game. Like he looked at the switch and he just stood there. And then by the time he reacted, the guys all the way by him, layup. It's just like, do y'all talk about defensive strategies and practice? I don't think they practice either. That's something evident. like I'm one that like looks closely at like it's more to it than just the shots that they're taking. Like, what are those shots that you're taking? What do they look like? And it's like when they're in the paint and they're doing different kind of moves, it's like they'll throw the ball up. It's like, bro, you clearly haven't practiced that shot. Like you look like you just rolled out of bed, came to the court and just hooping. Like you clearly haven't worked on anything, so they don't practice. But just effort. I mean, the defensive effort is the worst shit that I've ever seen, and it's been like that for years. This isn't anything that's new. It's not new last year. It's not new this year. It wasn't even new the year before last. Like they just don't play good team defense, and I mean, it was the same way regardless of who the coach is. So I mean, I can't even really blame it on the coach. My thing with the coach is how can you let this continue? Even if it is them, how can you say that you're a coach of a team and just let your team night in and night out go out and perform lackluster like this on the defense end? And it's like it's a few things. It's like when the team is on a 10-0 run against you, why are y'all still taking 101 threes with guys that clearly don't practice these shots? We don't need Turian Prince doing a ISO for a pull up three. That's not his game. Stop taking threes. It's like they have nothing to go towards the basket. At no point does the coach say, "Hey, we need a bucket. We got to get something in the paint." Guys still just jacking up threes. I mean, it's just like I it's just no effort. So I mean, I don't know what they need to do to keep trading draft picks away. That's not the answer because LeBron ain't gonna be there for long. Like he realistically just doesn't have that much time left. So they at some point they need to start planning for the future. I mean, I don't know if AD is their future. I don't know if he even wants to be a future of anybody. Like I'm just not sure. I do think that they can get any superstar that they want. So when they do move, when LeBron moves on or whatever, you notice I said LeBron moves on and not Lakers moving on from LeBron. When he moves on, when he decides that okay, I either want to go somewhere else or I'm done, they won't have a problem getting a superstar in there. I can see a Jason Tatum going to LA. I can see a Ja Morant going to LA. I feel like LA can get anybody. Like if Carl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards just both said, "Hey, we want to go to," I can realistically see that. So I don't think they're gonna have a problem getting a new star in there. Because I mean they've had a star. I don't remember the last time the Lakers didn't have a star. What was it?
When was that?
I, I can't call it. I mean they've probably had a star every year since the '70s. So I don't think that'll be an issue, but I mean, Lakers at some point they gotta start figuring out what it is. And if this is the effort this team is gonna get, just let them lose. Stop making trades. Stop trading away your capital, trying to improve a team that clearly, just like David said, they got the talent, they got the players, but just not giving effort. I would just stop making trades. Stop making trades. Just I don't even know what to do. And it's just like I'm gonna say this last thing, and then we can move on. But I think another thing the Lakers' problem is that nobody has a role. Like Rui Hachimura is a talent, but what is
Yeah.
his role? Like what is he supposed to give every night?
Yeah,
What
what are you asking of him night in and night
yes,
out?
what is Reeves supposed to? What are you expecting from Reeves every night? Because it's all over the place. And I'm not even saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like
Yeah.
nobody has a niche. Vanderbilt, what are you supposed to do? What do we need from you? Turian Prince, what is your job? Like, what do you contribute to this team every night? It don't even have to be a tangible thing. It don't have to be points. It don't even have to be rebounds. What is your role? And then another
Look,
thing, lack of accountability. Nobody's holding anybody accountable. Like, why is this guy not being berated for giving up this layup? Like, why is Alfred Sagoon giving AD 31 and 15? Like, what in what world is that okay? But it just happens night in and night out. No accountability. Nobody has a role. It's just guys out there playing. And even with D'Angelo Russell's resurgence as of late, is anybody telling him that that's what they need from D'Angelo Russell, or is he just out there playing pickup ball and not trying to get traded? We don't know. So until they answer some of those questions, which they haven't since the bubble, it's just gonna be the same shit.
I just want to say
And
this last part when he
yeah, go ahead.
talked about people's roles, but I mean some of the players that the Lakers have had. I mean, you look at KCP for Denver. He has a role.
He
You
does.
know what his role is. You know that's why he's shooting better. He's playing he's a better player as a Denver Nugget than he was a Laker. I mean, uh, um, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
I mean, coming off the bench. But maybe that was something that, I mean, there was points where they did do that for the Lakers, but look what his role is, and he's playing better. He fits in that role.
And
And
he
lastly,
willingly coming off the pound,
yeah,
willingly.
Yeah,
and lastly, Malik Beasley, dude was terrible with the Lakers.
terrible,
I
bro.
mean, couldn't buy a basket, but look what he's doing with the Bucks. He's got a role. You know what I mean? He's got a role, and I believe that is coaching. That is
Definitely.
it's different schemes, like you
It's
said.
coaching, it's buy-in because just
Yeah.
because you give somebody a role, they gotta buy into that role. And you know what
Right.
I mean? Like
Well,
I just think
they definitely got to buy in. But the thing about it is, you still have to. You can't keep changing up the like I said, you got your best eight guys. You know what I mean? The
He don't
Celtics.
even know who his best eight guys are
Yeah,
still.
the
I said, does
Celtics.
anybody
That's
know who
why
their best
those.
thing is?
That's why these
right.
teams. Look at. I mean, look at the
We
teams
know who the
that.
top three is, but we
If
don't
I
know
was
the
in
best
practice, if I was
eight.
in practice every day and that was my job is to make
Yeah,
this team perform, I bet I could tell you who the top eight guys were. That's your
yeah.
job. That's all you
If
have to do.
if
But
you
that's
look
why
at the
you got
top
assistant
teams,
coaches.
Right. That's
yeah.
your job is to know which eight guys or which combination of guys can you get the best from. And he hasn't. Vogel had no idea. This guy doesn't know. They just have no idea. And it's just like until you figure that out, you're not gonna succeed.
I agree with that. Everything y'all been saying is spot on. I feel like just from the couple games I've watched, it's the biggest thing is effort, and you're not gonna get effort unless you get buy-in, and people are not gonna buy in until you define their roles.
And none of that's gonna happen if
So
you don't hold people accountable.
yeah, that's the count. Accountability. So all of that mixed into the pot is what you get with the Lakers. But again, like we've been saying, they was at this point this time last year.
Yeah.
They still
And they're
make the play.
identical.
Right, and then they had a surge in the second half of the season. They made the playoffs, made it to the Western Conference Finals, got swept. But I mean, nobody like we said, nobody expected that. So who knows? I mean, you may not have to make a move. I mean, first off, you can't make a move. You really don't have anything to really make a move with, unless somebody's gonna give you a whole lot of something for a little bit of nothing.
Right.
Because that's
That's
all
not
y'all
gonna
got.
happen.
Unless it's a bad contract that somebody's trying to dump a 1 year left, and the player don't want to
Mhm.
resign, whatever. You may get lucky on that, but outside of anything significant that's gonna change our around, I don't believe that's it. I think it starts with them. And who would want to come there? I mean, outside of playing with LeBron, like who wants to come there on a team where you can see that the buy-in isn't there, the effort isn't there? Like nobody wants to come there just because. Like most of the time at the trade deadline, it's usually contenders just moving, just making moves because hey, they like, hey, we one or two pieces away. We just need such and such. We need somebody who can do this. We need somebody who can really handle this role in the playoffs because we can see which way our team is headed. So, but is it time for the Lakers to move on from LeBron? I guess getting back to the question, I'm gonna say no. Just because, like y'all said, also LeBron's earned it. He'll leave when he want to leave. He can stay as long as he wants, as long as he's producing, which clearly he is. Even though it's maybe on a bad team, he's producing and he's still one of the top players in the league. Whichever number you want to put him at, he's still top 10. So I think that is what it is. Moving right along, man. Let's jump into the NFL, man. We got a couple topics. Um, First off, we got the Pro Bowl coming up this weekend, and I know this is something we've been talking about for the past couple years. Like, how can we improve this Pro Bowl? Now they done changed it to flag football.
Man,
They got a few skill things here and there, but something interesting came across my timeline on Facebook. They were showing the 100-meter dash from, I think it was 1995, I want to say, where they used to have a 100-yard dash race to see who's the fastest in the league, and it was like elimination style, and it came down to like Rod Woodson and Daryl Green, and it was crazy. Like, imagine that now. Um, Imagine that now being like having like the Miami Dolphins do like a 4x1 or something along those lines. Like, what do
And
y'all think?
people be complaining about getting hurt that doing that too.
Yeah, but I
Guys in the
mean,
league act like they can't take a shit
yeah.
without getting hurt. So it's always, you know what I'm saying? Like it's always, oh, what if I pull my hamstring? It's always something. Like it's always gonna be something.
I agree with that. I agree, but still, like, do you think that's? I mean, what do you think they should do to change the what you
Get
call it?
get rid of it.
You say just get rid of it altogether?
Yeah,
Like
just
no
get rid
Pro
of it.
Bowl, just make it a
Yeah,
name and just say, okay, you was elected to the
yeah.
Pro Bowl, and
We don't need it. If you're not gonna play it, we don't want it. Like simple as that. If you're not gonna play, we don't want it. Or
I
I mean, I
agree.
don't know what you do. Maybe you. I don't know. Maybe I
I
don't know.
agree, man.
Get rid of it.
I
I
think the
mean, they
pro.
pretty much have. Like, it ain't a real game no more. Like,
yeah, it's just flag football, and like I
yeah,
said, just a
just
bunch of skill
skills tests and
competition.
shit.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess just keep doing that. I mean, I guess I don't really know, but
because I
what's
just
wrong
remember
without
like
it?
back in the '90s, like the farthest throw, like accuracy test for QBs. They used to do punts, like coffin corner punts and
I
longest
remember
field
that.
goals. They used to do all that stuff, and like I think that's what made it interesting because you're competing at a different level. And then, of course, in the game, you could everybody used to go hard, but I don't know what it is now. Like you said, I guess with money being involved, and then you got a chance of somebody getting hurt, like you said, like. But everybody talk all this stuff throughout the season about their position group or who's faster than who, and this is that and the other, and it's like imagine a deep ball throw between Josh Allen and like Patrick Mahomes. Like that would be crazy.
Be
You know
tight.
what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think you can keep the Pro Bowl as a game and just add the skills challenge in there. That's what everybody wanted to see. They never should even change that format. Like to me.
I like the skills challenge. I like the remember that like I said they used to do that a long time ago. When you look on Facebook, sometimes you'll see like remember I think Cordell Stewart they did do like little skills challenges things. I mean something
Yeah.
that I would say maybe something that entertains the kids or but because the thing about like you said the thing about the Pro Bowl that's long gone now because like I said these players are worth so much they're so valuable. I mean, this is kind of how the NBA is. Players still, it's crazy how we still, they talk about the resting the players, but you still resting them. You know, I was so upset that Embiid didn't play that night against Denver. It's just no point. It was
They said Buddy hasn't played out there since 2019.
2019, man. You know what I'm saying? And back in the day, but like you said,
Interesting.
we can say back in the day, but those players, well, Jordan wasn't even worth that. He wasn't worth all that money
Yeah.
that these players are now. So it's a money thing, man. And unfortunately, that's something that's just the new age in sports. So
Okay. I I can see that. I mean,
yeah,
nobody wants to. I mean, how would we feel like if Joe Burrow or somebody, or Anthony Richardson get hurt in a skills challenge, and we like, man, what the fuck?
man, that will be
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
that will
you know
be
what I mean. We would just be like, what the fuck? Like, Joe Burrow like throw his shoulder out or some shit. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you'd be
Or
like, what the?
the injury he had this year, just a
Yeah,
torn
yeah,
ligament.
yeah.
Something.
You know what I mean? Something like that, or like Anthony Richardson, his shoulder, like throwing the
Yep.
ball. Like it's just like, man, like I would be like, man, fuck these skill challenges. But I mean, it's entertainment at the end of the day, and it's at the end of the year. I mean, so yeah,
Just
you
like
probably could get
just
hurt,
like
but could you
the
not
All Star
recover in time?
the All Star game is a little different in basketball. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Yeah,
really but football's it's
A
so
little bit more taxing on your body. Pause.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I agree with
Mhm.
that. So Ben Johnson staying with the Lions, man. Uh,
They said he was asking for too much.
I mean,
So,
I look at it like this: y'all asking for me. Y'all want me to be y'all head coach. Y'all interviewing me. So
facts.
if that's the case, then I have what I, what I mean. This is what I want.
And he probably
And
didn't want to coach there anyway. Like, probably was like, shit, if I don't get
yeah,
that
and
that
Seattle, I
fucking
think it was
Chargers job
Seattle.
and the
Yeah,
Commanders,
yeah, Seattle and the Commanders. Um, but I also think that's good for the Lions too. Like on the run they're on, none of the teams he's going to is going to be better or have the talent.
Mm-hmm.
that the Lions have. Like you can still compete, you can still build your resume, and continue to do something special in Detroit. We just jumped to the subject, Ike, but do you think there's any way to improve the Pro Bowl to step back a taste? Is there
You
anything they
mean
can do to make it
other
better?
than other than defunding it?
All
This is why I fuck with Ike.
right,
Defund the Pro Bowl, bro. Just
because
take
he
the
on
game
this
away.
defund. Oh man, these dudes
Yeah,
always defund
that's
Bro,
this.
get rid of it. Fuck it.
when's the last time you watched the Pro Bowl?
Right.
It's been a
That
while.
that's why
I
they had to.
know.
Hey, that's why they had to put it before the Super Bowl, man. 'Cause
Yeah,
Man,
it used to
I
be
think
afterwards.
I think the last one I watched, Peyton Manning was in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
yeah,
about
And
to say.
man.
It's
I
probably
remember,
2015.
I remember
Uh,
Jack Saturday was for the other team, and then they let
yeah,
him come. That might
yeah.
be the last. That might be the
Yeah,
last
When he
Pro Bowl
played
I
for
watched.
when he played for Green Bay, he was
Right.
yeah, that was
yeah.
2015, I believe.
That might be the
2016,
last
somewhere
Pro
around there.
Bowl I've
Yeah,
seen.
no, I'm
Hey,
with
I
you.
agree with Ike, man. Because like I
Defund it,
said,
bro. Ain't nobody watching.
bro, I'm gonna be watching the Daytona 500. I ain't watching that, man.
You know. That's on the
I'm
same
not
day.
gonna mention the
Huh?
things that I'm gonna
The
be
Daytona
doing
500
instead of
is
watching.
this weekend.
Uh, no, it's next. Actually,
No,
next.
no, no.
No,
It's two
the
weekends. It's 2 weekends from now.
Clash is this weekend.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. But the weekend after that is Super Bowl. I know it's not on Super Bowl.
No, it ain't Super Bowl Sunday.
Then the weekend after that is All Star Weekend. So it's on the same day as All Star game?
Well, the All Star game, Daytona 500 All Star game is always on the same day. 18th.
Oh, word! I never noticed that. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Never noticed that. And I
Um,
feel like I've watched both.
Yep.
Damn, I've never noticed that. That's
Yeah, they
crazy.
always have
well,
it
the
on.
Daytona 500 is usually during the day too. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
you can
definitely watch
usually
them
catch
both.
both. And Ben Johnson staying with the Lions. That's what we were just talking about. Like, said he could have been asking too much, but we were just saying that like the teams that was out there, he probably didn't want to coach anyway. Especially over the past 2 years, the way the Lions offense has been playing and how highly recruited he's been to become a head coach. Um, you think that's a good move for him to stay with the Lions, or should he have taken one of these jobs since there's only 32 in the NFL?
Passing on a head coaching job as a man who looks like us could get you blackballed.
Yeah,
Eric Bieniemy still ain't got a head coaching job.
And he's
He,
currently with a team that needs a head coach.
man.
who
Wow,
Ben Johnson interviewed for, by the way. So, look,
wow, bro.
would he have been in a better situation? No. Because teams who need head coaches ain't good teams. That's typically how
That's
it
just
works.
right.
It's just like, you getting drafted. Probably not getting drafted to a good team if you're at the top of the draft. I guess that's just how it works. I fear though, if you price yourself out or you just turn down jobs, you gonna do another 27 interviews, and he might have blackballed himself. Does he deserve another shot after this? Yeah, absolutely. Should he have taken those jobs? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, the Seattle job is not terrible,
Right.
Yeah, it's not
but it's
terrible.
not great. Now the Commanders
Yeah.
job is not good, and I mean I can understand why not take that one. If the enemy is an offensive mind, you're an offensive mind.
But it
Probably not the
could be
best
that
fit.
Andy Reid, Eric B. Enemy type deal. When you get two offensive minds, sometimes that stuff it takes off. So you get them two in the room together, they could,
Possibly,
do
but
some.
and Eric Bieniemy never got the credit for over there. So
That's
like
true too.
that
But
would clash. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, going back to Detroit, probably from a record standpoint is a good idea. From a career standpoint, it may not have
Yeah.
been the best decision.
yeah, and see, I didn't even think about it from a standpoint of like, yeah, people may not want to interview you next year. Like you may not get that chance again. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking about, hey, look, continue to stay with the Lions. I mean, but I think with what Dan Campbell said after the game, like, hey, this was probably our only shot. He was saying it maybe in a way that he probably predicted that he may lose a Ben Johnson and they may lose their defensive coordinator. Like, because usually some of the top teams they end up losing coordinators in like it's almost a guarantee. Like championship game, like super especially Super Bowl winning coaches. Like you're
Yep.
probably gonna lose your coordinators. And a lot of those teams are waiting to see what happens in the Super Bowl so they can talk to the Niners defensive coordinator or you know what I mean, offensive coaches and things of that nature too. So um it could be that. You know, it could just be saying, "Hey, look, we're gonna wait it out. And we're gonna take one of them. You know, we're gonna take, what's it, Wilkes from the Niners. He been talked about a lot. You know, possibly getting some interviews too. So, especially with minorities having to get a certain amount of interviews. So,
I'm gonna put it in perspective of like my life in an analogous that I
oh
experienced
shit.
anyway, right? Yeah, it ain't that bad actually. Like we
Okay,
met at
okay.
Sprint. We met
Oh
at Sprint, right?
yeah, yeah.
So I somehow found my way up in these ranks. When it came to becoming an ASM, I picked and choose where I wanted to go. When it became, hey, I need you to run a store, the option wasn't as, hey, you can go to whatever store that you wanted to. You going to go to what store that you get offered, and then you got to kind of prove yourself to get moved to a store. So I ended up in Kentucky Avenue, which is not the best store to start at, but it wasn't an option. Like
Right.
it was,
That
hey,
makes sense.
this is your opportunity. You've got to take it, and that's how I feel for people who are like us, who are quarter or community coaches and the NFL. Like you really almost can't afford to pass on some of these opportunities, regardless of the situation. Uh, Getting that experience, I think, at least helps you get in better situations in the future. It may not be a head coaching job, but it's really tough for us if we want to see more of us as head coaches for us to pass on any of those opportunities.
And I
Well,
also I also think too, my bad. Hold 1 second, Jerry. I also think too, like with the Washington job, like you also gotta think about like how long your leash may be. With them kind of tearing everything down and trying to build it back up, you may have a longer leash with a Washington. You know what I mean? Where they got a new owner group, they you know what I mean, new GM, new everything. Like you may get an extra year or two to
that's
kind
true.
of build that up too.
And how many coaches who were good coordinators, when they do end up losing their job, get a job as a coordinator quickly,
Go right back to being a
as
coordinator.
opposed to the other way around. If you like, I don't know if I want this job, the opportunity may not easily come back around to you.
I
Yep.
wonder how it went though. Like, 'cause I didn't. I mean, was he offered the job and he turned it down, or did he just decide that staying in Detroit? Because I mean, it's all about how he approached
Ye-
it. If he says, you know what, I don't think I'm ready yet, and when I do, there's different ways of saying stuff that have a different effect. If he was to come and say, you know what, after these interviews, I think it's best for both parties for me to just remain a coordinator. I want to get a couple more years under my belt. I want to learn a little bit more. I want to be the best version of me before I take that leap. Boom. I don't think he's
Right.
blackballed. But if he says, nah, y'all ain't paying enough, that might get you blackballed. So I mean, it really just none of us was in that room. None of us really know what was said and how it was
This is
said.
true.
I think that's a major factor into whether he's going to get the opportunity coming up again or not. So
But see, I also think too, like like a lot of teams, like you said, are waiting because you can't talk to the coaches that's going to the Super Bowl, and you could just now talk. I think you got to wait another week before you can really talk to the coordinators who lost in the championship game. So some teams may be like, all right, you know, we appreciate you interviewing with us. You know, we'll get back to you because they're
right,
waiting on other guys too. And in that meantime, he's like, you know what? I ain't even gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna go back to Detroit. So I think that's possibly how that could have went. But like you said, nobody was in there. Who knows if he got offered that job and just didn't take
right.
it? Because Carolina was heavily like on him heavily last year. I don't even think he interviewed this year with Carolina. So
Nah, because they hired that guy before Detroit even
hmm
played.
yeah. So
Oh, he mad at young too. I didn't know he was 37.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um and last but not least, man, are the Ravens and the Lions still contenders next year? Do y'all see them like falling off,
Nope.
still competing?
Yeah. I feel like the AFC North belongs to a healthy Ravens team. We're clearly not making enough moves to grasp it again. So like, yeah, absolutely. I think that they're always gonna. I feel like the next few years, the AFC North is their division to lose. In fact, I think even the Browns are ahead of us in that division as well. And I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers is a half of a quarterback away from being. If you look at where we are now as far as roster, it goes Ravens, it goes Browns, it goes the Steelers, and then the Bengals. So like, I feel like the AFC North is the Ravens division until they want to give it up. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, what about you, Davey? You think the Ravens and the Lions still gonna compete next year? Like, are they gonna lose players? Players gonna move on based on performances? What do you think?
I kind of somewhat agree with Jared there. I mean, that Ravens game taught us a lot about how far they can go. Um, you know, like we talked about it last week when we were picking who was going to win between the Chiefs and the Ravens, and I kind of said that I had the Chiefs because I picked experience over just being the best team in the league. You know what I'm saying? And you see what happened. Um, the Chiefs scored 0 points in the second half. Right,
Man,
and the defense stepped up.
But I'll
The
say it
Ravens
still found a
defense,
way to win.
the Ravens defense stepped up. I mean, they were Joe Flacco away from tying the game up. You know, I think that
Elite.
I think that this. I mean, they got exposed, man. When it came to it's crazy. Here's the thing: it's crazy how they had Ray Lewis, and then they had Terrell Suggs come out there to you know cheer him on. Ray, Suggs to show the ring. That wasn't the problem. They defensive players. The offense was the problem. They should have
yeah,
Flacco or something, or somebody out there on the offense running out there on that field
But
to to
Chevy Clark,
Elite.
you know what I'm saying? Somebody on the offense, to go out there to cheer him on, man, with a Super Bowl ring. So
right,
I
right.
mean, I, you know, I, yeah, I do think that we have some holes. In our defense that we do need. Our defense definitely needs to get. We need. We're not going to have.
Pull
I
it
don't think.
together, David. Pull it
Yeah, okay,
together.
look, we're
you
not going to
trash
be.
at every position is basically what he's saying, except for
Yeah,
quarterback.
I mean, but I don't think that. I still don't really feel like the Bengals are far off. You know, I mean, I think that like with that game, if you had a healthy Joe Burrow in that game Sunday, I mean, come on, man. I mean,
Yeah.
24-17. Come on.
Okay. Well, with
But
all this being said, I mean, we might as well just roll on over because we were going to talk about the recap from this weekend's games. I mean, we might as well just keep this conversation rolling. Um, with the Chiefs beating the Ravens 17-10, like we were saying, the defense, both defenses played great. As you can see from the score, the offenses were nothing to be proud of on neither side of the ball. I think the Chiefs just made a couple more plays than the Ravens, but like it was just costly mistakes. I think, and this is just my outlook on it. Zay Flowers, rookie mistakes. Like vets know how to taunt without looking at an opponent, without you know what I mean, without drawing a flag.
Hmm.
Veterans know how to do it. You didn't even have to dive at the goal line. You didn't even have to dive. Like, put your head down, take the hit. If you get in, you get in. If you don't, you're at the half-yard line. Like
mm,
being greedy. Like you already having the best game all out of everybody. You know what I mean? You was having the best game outside of Kelsey. Like you
but
was having the best game. Just
the thing about it,
put your head down, protect the ball. That's
thinking
just
about,
rookie things. Go ahead, go
but
ahead.
I want
Thinking
to say
about
this though. I did want to say this real quick. When you talked about the taunting, and I don't know who was broadcasting that game, but they talked about they had there was emotions, but they were bad emotions. It was almost kind of like the Bengals playing the Steelers, maybe back in '05, perfect days, where you were there, but you made stupid mistakes. The
Yeah,
talking call was stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I think that like I said, when Suggs and them came out there, it was kind of good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to maybe try to be that
yeah. You're
2000
trying to
Ravens.
rile them up. You're trying to
Yeah,
rile your team
you
up,
know
of
what I'm
course.
saying? And I think it shot him in the foot, man. I think that's what hurt him. But to end my point, when I talked about experience over, being playing the best team in the league, um, that experience took over because even though that the Chiefs did not score, you see Patrick Mahomes took over the game by just managing the clock, knowing that okay, we're not gonna give them the time to even put any points on the board. You know what I mean? So that's where that experience comes in.
Right.
That six
And at
AFC
that point,
championship.
like the Ravens were already committing mistakes
Yeah,
that was helping the Chiefs defense.
yeah,
So it was like one of them things where it was just like a snowball effect.
yeah,
And again, like I said, it's just like you gotta like with Lamar, he ain't been in this situation before. He's trying to and I it's a gift and a curse with him because it's like, yeah, he wants to show that he's a passing quarterback and he can sit in the pocket, he can read and he can make decisions, and
hmm
that's fine. But if you look in the playoffs, like quarterbacks have been doing what they had to do to win games, and I think that's an experience thing. What you were saying, David, and that's kind of what I was saying. Like I picked it, like I wasn't mad if Baltimore would have won, but I picked the Chiefs also because they've been here and done that, and there was nothing that the Ravens I felt like could do defensively that was
yeah,
going to rattle Mahomes. But Lamar not being able to recognize that they're in man and everybody's back is turned to you, and you can literally run for 10, 15 yards and draw the defense up to the line of scrimmage and start making your throws. Like I feel like that's probably the
Mhm.
biggest mistake. Like they did not run. You're running football. Everybody know you're running football. The best running football team in football this year, and you didn't run the ball enough.
yeah.
You ran the ball
Facts.
like 10 times with running backs, like the whole game. Like that's ridiculous. You know
And
what I
then what
mean,
happened? What happened with Because it was funny. I was like, man, where is Odell Beckham? And then in the
Are
first half,
using him at the end.
it was like, and then that's when they finally threw. I mean, where was he at the first half?
bro? If you go back and look at some of the film on that game, Lamar is sitting in the pocket with open receivers.
Yeah,
You cannot blame the receivers this year. This was not their fault. They were getting open. For as long as he was in the pocket, like they were getting open. He was just sitting there too long, holding on to the ball too long, and not making the decision. It's either pass or run.
Facts.
yeah.
It's either pass or run. Like, everybody was shooting down they offensive coordinator last year. That was not him. Like you got to get everybody owe that man an apology because the new guy Lamar's doing the same thing. It's Lamar's decision making. Lamar has to make a decision. Look, first reading out there, second reading out there. I am running.
Right.
Facts.
Yeah,
That's it.
Can't really disagree with that.
You know what I mean? So like that's just my biggest thing in that. I mean, because Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna capitalize.
yeah,
Like when it's time to, when you need a drive, when you need to get in field goal range, when you need that first down, Patrick Mahomes don't care. He will run on one ankle. We've seen him do it 3 years in a row in the playoffs.
yeah.
He will run on a bad ankle, half a foot, a broken wrist. He don't care.
Punk
Wasn't
ass.
nothing wrong with
Oh,
that boy
shoot,
ankle.
I didn't mean to say that out loud. Just
Wasn't nothing wrong with that boy ankle that day, by the way.
Okay,
nothing.
it's
Nothing,
cool.
bro. I thought I was the only person that thought that there was nothing
but,
wrong
but
with his
even if
ankle,
that's
bro.
even if that's true, like
Nigga was
it
Mike
does,
Vick.
bro. It don't, bro. He
He
doesn't
was Mike
care.
Boy,
Vick.
no.
I said it was Mike Vick.
That
Nothing
shit
keeps
was
Boy, no,
nothing
bro.
crazy,
keep.
bro.
Hey, but
Yeah.
nothing keeps him from his goal. If I have to do it, I have to do it. If I have to take the hit to get the first down, I'm gonna take the hit to get whatever I have to do to win this game, bro. Because there's no tomorrow if we lose.
Hey Isaac, if his ankle was really messed up, he
Hey,
That was the
the
biggest amount of
the
bullshit I've ever seen in my
man,
life.
Bro,
hey,
I mean, ain't no way.
he
Niggas out
laid
there
the
going
shit out of the
crazy.
Bengals. But yeah, and then the other game, I mean, the Lions and the Niners game, that was crazy too. Um,
uh,
I don't know, man. That it's oh man, I don't even know. Ike, please recap
What's up, bro?
recap the Lions Niners game.
Um,
It was. I don't even know what to say about that game.
Shit damn near seemed fake,
So
bro.
It, bro,
real,
that's what I'm like. It's like a fantasy.
That hey, I will say that game. It looked because let me
That's
say
a
this before I do.
fantasy.
The
no, no, go
crazy
ahead, go
thing
ahead.
about it was the way the Lions were running the ball, passing the ball, they were catching everything. Man, it the second half, it was kind of like, how the hell he not catch that? He caught it in the first half.
Dropping passes, coach
What?
not refusing to
Uh,
fucking kick the fucking field goal.
Reynolds,
Like,
Reynolds is known for dropping balls. Uh, Look,
I man,
uh,
I don't know, dog. Look,
I'm gonna say this: Reynolds been dropping balls all year, and he don't play for the Chiefs, so apparently that's not magically fixed in the playoffs. But nonetheless, bit of a step back, real quick. Dan Campbell, thinking of a different person earlier. He's gonna be fine. He looks a little different from us. I'll leave it at that. When it came to the 49ers Lions game, by the way, I don't like the way he worded that. 49ers or Lions lose to the 49ers.
No, Lion. No,
We
and
beat
the
them. We
Lions
beat.
loses to the 49ers. What do you
We
mean?
beat them
31
niggas.
to.
We
Okay,
beat
okay.
the niggas. You give us the same shit that you gave the Chiefs. Biggest thing though, live by the gun, die by the gun. Dan Campbell's been going for it on fourth down all
fuck
year.
that. I don't care. He's
No, I'm saying it doesn't make it a good decision, but that's ultimately kind of what killed you. Now, granted, the 4th and 2 again, Reynolds is open,
mm-hmm.
but he's been dropping passes all year. It's just not too many people were watching him, and I just happened to watch a couple of Lions games and also lost some money behind that man. So I had a little bit of experience in one betting and watching Reynolds. But he's open. Ball hits your hands. You're supposed to catch it.
That's it.
Ultimately, Dan Campbell could have taken the field goal that he didn't take. So again, you live and die by what you've made your name on, and it felt like he was purposely trying to say, "Hey, this is who I've been, and this is who I'm going to be." And at some point, sometimes you got to make a change, bro. It's cool. You can make a pivot. You could have kicked the field goal. I wasn't. As soon as I knew that they was going for it on fourth, I said, "This is not going to work."
Me neither. And I was like, bro, they don't have the momentum. Like, there's nothing that's been going good this half for y'all. Like
Right.
this, you think all of a sudden now you about to pick up 4th and 3?
Right. And it's almost like I could see if the game was 14-14 and
Right.
y'all had built it to 21-14 or something, but y'all on the dip from the momentum. Like, you gotta, and then going for it on fourth down and not getting it is a turnover. You know what I'm saying?
Essentially,
So not
that's like
only
throwing
are
a
you
pick.
losing momentum, a turnover, I think a missed kick is, well, that's a momentum swing as
Yeah,
well. But
that's a
it's
turnover too.
the, it's,
But you
it's
can
the
live
same
with the
thing, bro.
potential of points. I
Yeah,
can live with the
like,
potential point. Like, okay, my kicker missed a kick. Okay, that's a potential for points. You know what I mean? But just
Now,
going
there's a
on fourth
couple of
down,
things.
yeah.
I'm gonna shoot him a little bit of bail, because apparently his kicker, I think they were about
Ooh,
40,
he's not
50
that good at it.
yardish. Apparently he was only like 40% from that distance. So I think that had to have factored into that decision. But at that point, like you guys were saying, when the momentum was not with you, and up until that point, because there was a couple of different plays up until that point. Initially, when Goff was completing passes, he wasn't. We weren't moving him off the spot. He would the end of the third into the fourth quarter, he didn't have the time that he had, and partially was because Wilkes, to his credit, figured out, all right, we're not getting to him with four, so
Yeah, we
we actually
need
start
that.
sending linebackers in.
Hmm.
We started moving him off the spot, and that's when some of those passes started to become a little bit errant. And that last pass that went incomplete, like he got moved and then tried to throw kind of back across the shoulder. I mean, St. Brown was open, but
Very.
because he didn't have a clean pocket to actually step into that throw, that was a very, very crucial play. And ultimately, like I said, either you could have kicked the field goal in which you had a 40-some% chance of making it, or you go for it on fourth down and whatever the analytics say. I hate analytics sometimes, but whatever the analytics say is the percentage. I guess that's what he went with. But again, you live by that gun, and he also died by said same gun.
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not angry with it at all. I mean, Because this is how they've been playing right now. Because what I've seen too, also, is some coaches, they get to these championship games or they even get to the Super Bowl, and then they start trying to change their tendencies and be trying to be a team that they're not. And it's like this is not what got you here. You know what I mean? Like Ravens, passing isn't what got you here. Like that's not what y'all do. Like run the ball. This is what got y'all here.
But
Run
see,
to
my
set up
thing
the
is
pass.
with that statement, how is Lamar Jackson the MVP?
But he's done the combination of both.
I mean,
He didn't have
but to say
4,000 passing yards. You know what I mean?
but I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just like playing devil's advocate. Like people just have said he's the runaway MVP candidate, and I'm just really not really sure really how. Like
I
It's
think
just
because of, I think
consistency.
because of their record, how they played.
they ran the most out of any team in the NFL. How does that qualify your quarterback to be a runaway landslide unanimous MVP?
Well, I think because of how they played and how he played against tough teams. You know, winning teams. I think also his combination run and pass, touchdowns on both, and interceptions and turnover ratio was
That's
super
fair.
low. So
I
I mean,
guess.
when you're doing a little bit of, I think when you're doing a little bit of everything really really good, then it kind of can outshine, and your team is winning. Like it can outshine somebody who's just having a dominant year passing. You know what I mean? That 4,000, 4,500 yards and 40 TDs and but you got 15 interceptions. You may look at that and be like, well, the interception touchdown ratio is pretty good, but this guy's doing it on the ground. They team is playing better. Like I think that plays into it too, because you can look at like Tua, you can look at a couple other guys' season and say, or even Josh Allen, look at his and be like, okay, his numbers are better than Lamar's, but was his
Right.
team really playing better than the Ravens? Did you know what I mean? Was he that reason like Lamar is? I believe that on this one, numbers don't tell it all. Like it's the MVP of the league who's been playing the best, and I think he was just probably playing the best.
It's just telling that they didn't want to give it to a non-quarterback.
And that true too, because Christian McCaffrey could have he can argue with anybody in the NFL as far as production. So but yeah, man, I think that's it, man. I think we pretty much covered everything, man. We good show, man. Made it to an hour, 7 minutes. Look at y'all, man. Hey man, we
Well,
done had some that don't went over. We done
and
we
we'll get
done
off
had
of the live and still be talking.
and still be talking like hey, we done had some stuff.
Hey, y'all
Um
remember when Ike used to, well, do you remember when Ike used to just cut out? Like,
bruh,
motherfucker,
bruh.
that used to be the funniest
He
shit
used
in
to
the
be like, "Hey
world,
man," he used to
bro.
put in the chat. He'd be like, "Hey man, I'm about to go." We used to be
Man.
wrapping the show up
I,
as soon as I
I
Soon
ain't
say,
gonna lie to
as he
y'all.
stopped the show,
as
Ike
soon as
would
I
be
hit end
gone.
broadcast,
Motherfuckers
that
would be
man was
like,
like, "Shoot."
hey, Ike, this nigga's
It
long
was
gone. Like,
it was a
damn.
couple times that I ain't even plugged my laptop in. I'm like, yeah, we just going.
It's about to die. It's his laptop would die right on
Man,
time.
that shit used to have me weak.
Hey, it was hilarious, man. Any final thoughts, anybody, man?
D for the Pro Bowl.
Well, yeah,
Defund the Pro Bowl.
got defund the Pro Bowl.
You know I'm
I agree
rolling.
with you, Ike. I agree with you, dog. I agree with that, man.
Get rid
It's
of
just
that shit.
it's just hard to watch, man.
It's not good. It's not fun.
Give them the accolade and move on.
Move the Super Bowl back up to the first weekend in February, please.
Bro, do that. Absolutely.
I agree with that. I'm not angry with that. But then they still used to have a week of promo though, right? It still used to.
Oh, it used
Well,
to be
yeah, but
two.
they
Well, there's
added
a
that extra week
there extra
of the
playoff.
season too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's why I put.
it's
Okay,
17
okay.
18
Because
weeks
games.
I'm
and not
like,
17
it
now.
still wouldn't be the first weekend.
Yeah, if they
Yeah,
took it down to 16 games, 17 weeks, and they could pull it off. But NFL's a money grab. By the
yeah.
time we 50 or 60, they probably gonna be playing like 30 games a season, man. Because I mean, it is lucrative. It's lucrative as hell. Like you can't be mad at it. Like there's just
Hey,
more money, more money. Like, and then the players gonna be like, shit, cool. We get paid more.
we're gonna
Like
get paid. Yep.
everybody's just gonna be like, fuck it, let's do it. So
Cut the NBA season down. Cut the NFL up some. It'll work.
I got
That might be a
nobody
next.
watching
Hey, that might be a next good
NBA
topic.
football
Do we think we could
season.
cut the NBA season down?
I think 82. I've always thought 82 games is just like that's crazy.
We
Yeah.
can revisit it. We've talked about it before.
We have
yeah,
talked
we have
about it.
talked
Yeah,
about it,
we
y'all.
that may be something we can talk about, but Hey man, I'm good, man. If everybody good, anybody else got anything? Any more final thoughts? Anybody? Anybody?
But
I guess man, that's it, man. Well, this has been the Epic Podcast, man. We see y'all next week, man.
All
yes,
right.
sir.